students, a very good morning to everyone and welcome back to the next session of physics class. And today we are going to learn the new topic or we are going to discuss about a new topic which is called as reflection of light. But before that, let us try to recall that what we discussed in the previous session. Yes, in the previous session about light. Yes, then the different types of objects like luminous object and non-luminous objects. Next, nature of light. In the nature of light, we had nearly two different theories, right? Yes, so like wave theory of light and the particle theory of light. Yes, afterwards we learned about the rays, a beam of light rays, parallel beam, diverging beam, converging beam, isn't it? Exactly. Then about medium. There are three different types of mediums we discussed in the previous session and we wind out. Okay, so this is what the summary actually that I can give, so which we discussed in the previous session. So then today let us start with another important topic which is called as reflection of light. So then what is this reflection of light? So reflection of light, when a light is incident on a surface means it is nothing but a surface area of any object separating two medium. So two media means, why we are saying as a two media means the object is one media and when the light rays which is coming from air right now, that is one media. So that's why we said that as a separating two media, light will bounce back into the same medium. This is known as reflection of light. Like this you can explain, or even though you can say that the process of sending back or bouncing back the light rays which falls on the surface of an object is also called as a reflection of light. Okay, so yes, let us try to understand by using an object like, so very good example for reflection of light is, of course, everybody knows, mirror. Exactly. Let us take a mirror now. Okay, so a mirror, I have taken a mirror over here and now, so in this mirror I just incident a single light rays onto that mirror and that ray we call it as incident ray. And also the blue point that you can see over there, that is called as a point of incidence. Okay, see, observe carefully, there is a mirror and I just made a single light rays which is fall on to that mirror to that point, actually the point of incidence. Now I am drawing one perpendicular line to that point of incidence and which is called as a normal ray. It's a perpendicular line which I drawn, the dotted lines. Okay, and also the angle which is made by normal ray and as well as the incident ray, you can observe that. So that angle we call it as angle of incidence. Remember this. So then what will happen when I incident a ray to that point of incidence, I mean to mirror? Yes, of course, as per the definition, as I said, it will send back, and it will send back to which directions, which are different directions that you can observe here. Okay, so because the light rays which is incident slantly, not normally, means not perpendicularly. Okay, so that's why definitely it is bounced back to the different direction. Okay, so now you can observe the angle which is formed by the normal and the blue color one, it is a reflected ray, we call it as reflected ray, and that angle we call it as angle of reflection. Okay, so this is what exactly the reflections will take place in a mirror. Very important terms you should remember. So the red one, which is called as an incident ray, and the blue one, which is called as a reflected ray. The angle which is made by the normal and the red we called as the angle of incidence, and the angle which is made by the normal and also the reflected ray, which is called as angle of reflection. Okay, yes, I hope you people understood. So after this, by keeping all these points, we described actually, so means the scientist has been described the laws of reflection. Laws of reflection, yes, there are two different types of or laws of reflections are there. Which are those? Let us learn about that now. First law, the incident ray, reflected ray and the normal ray. So you can observe on the diagram incident ray, reflected ray and normal to the surface at a point of incidence lie in the same plane. So even though I can say that this one as the incident ray, the reflected ray and the normal ray all lie on the same plane. You can observe. So you can see the plane over here, where means observe all the three incident, red one, normal, the dotted one and the blue one, everything is lies on the same plane right now. Yes, that is what the first law of reflection. Okay, yes. Now let us go to the second law of reflection. So angle of incidence, you know where it is, angle of incidence right now. Yes, angle of incidence is always equal to angle of reflection. That is the second law of reflections. Angle of incidence we are indicated by the letter that is I, and angle of reflection which is indicated by the letter R. So therefore I is equals to R, or even though you can say angle I is equals to angle R. Okay, after learning laws of reflection, when the light rays which is fall onto a surface, it will bounce back. It means it will get reflects. Yes, of course, we know that. And also we saw the directions which I showed in the previous page right now. But the directions which is taken place when the light rays incident on a surface, no, it is not always the same. Why I am saying it is not always same? Because surface means the object, surface of an object, if it is not regular means, like how means, if it is in a different shape means, what will happen? Isn't it? Yes. That is what we classified into two different types of reflections which is taken place, which is called as regular and irregular reflections. So what is regular reflections? Now you take the a mirror surface. So let us understand what is exactly the regular reflections takes place. When the light rays incident on the smooth surface, mirror, as we know that it has a smooth surface right now, when the light rays which is incident on the smooth surface, it reflects in a particular directions. You can see that directions, isn't it? So all the light rays which has taken place in a particular directions. Okay, such type of reflections we call it as regular reflections. Okay, we understood. Then what about irregular? So now you can observe the surface. Is that surface a smooth surface? No, not at all. It's a rough surface, isn't it? Yes. So now if I incident a light ray for one point of incident, So it reflects back with some directions. Now observe carefully. If I incident or light rays in this point of incidence, what the directions which is taken place here? See the direction of reflected ray. It is in a different form, isn't it? It is in a different direction. So likewise, observe the directions. It is not a regular directions or regular reflections, right now? Yes, that's why we call this one as irregular reflection. So it means when the light rays incident on a rough surface, it reflects in all the directions, all over the directions. It depends on the surface. This is called as irregular, or even though we called by another name, that is diffuse reflection. Understood? Okay. And now you can see some of examples of reflections, regular reflections. You can see the reflections of that mountain, isn't it? Very beautiful. Similarly, so here you can observe the reflection forms of the surface of water. So just now I explained regarding the rough surface as well as the smooth surface. Smooth surface. Right now you can observe the reflections here also. Smooth water surface, how the reflections is taken place of this mountain. And you can observe the second picture here, wavy water surface. Can you see the reflection of that mountain clearly like the first one? No, we can't. Right now? Yes. Similarly, the next one, boat. You can observe the boat clearly because it's a smooth surface of water, isn't it? Similarly, the next one, it is not. It is diffused, isn't it? Yes. These are the different examples of reflections that I can give. If the light ray which is fall on to the mirror surface at normal means, I said a normal ray means it is nothing but a perpendicular line, right? Now if the light rays is fall on to that mirror surface normally, where the reflections will take place, that's a very important point, isn't it? Where it will go? Of course, everybody knows. Maybe you know. Okay. So where exactly the reflections will take place means, see the yellow one we called as a normal ray. I have drawn that yellow one is a normal. Okay. So where the reflections will take place means in the same direction the reflections will takes place. Isn't it? Yes, of course. Okay, so now what will be the angle of incidence here? Angle of incidence is 0, absolutely, because the light rays is fall on to the normal, means perpendicularly. There is no angle formation at all. When there is no angle formation means the angle will be 0. Now the reflection of that incident ray is to the same direction means, what about the angle of reflection? 100% it is 0, isn't it? Exactly, because the angle only which is not formed, and also the reflected ray is going on to the same direction means angle of reflection is also 0. You can see the definitions. If light rays falls normally means it is nothing but perpendicularly on the reflecting surface, then the angle of incidence is 0, and using laws of reflection, angle of reflection is also 0, because by using a laws of reflection means, as I told you in the just before, angle of incidence is equals to angle of reflection. If the angle of incidence is 0, then what about angle of reflection? That is also 0. Okay, my dear students, so for today's session it's more than enough, and try to learn all the topics which I taught now. Okay, we'll see in the next session. Until then, stay tuned, stay safe, keep on reading. Okay, thank you for